All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Everyone ready?
Fired up, Kale. Fired up, Kale. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the pregame lounge.
Let's go. Let's go.
We are presented by Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories. It's Miller time, and we're coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR.
Beep, beep.
Nuggets Magic tonight. A lot of storylines, a lot of things to talk about. We're going to get you set for this game. I'm Harrison Wynn. That's D-Line.
That's right, guys. I think everybody's locked into the pregame show and not the NFL playoffs. So glad that you're all here.
I don't even know what game's going on. What game's on? Oh, the Eagles.
Yeah. So congratulations to you, everybody that's not from Philly.
That's Brendan Vogt over there.
Unofficial hostile Eagles fan takeover downstairs.
Yeah.
Looking forward to them straight up killing us when we change the channel.
Yeah, it's going to be dope.
Yeah, it's going to be
There
awesome.
are way too many Philadelphia people in Denver. I get Chicago. I get
the same thing.
California. I get Texas. I don't get Philadelphia. Why are they here?
Here's what I'll explain to you.
Okay.
The East Coast of this country is built in such a way that it is trying to kill all of the people that live there all the time.
Really?
It makes them bitter
the
and
environment wants
crumpled
you to
and
die.
angry.
Like
And think
nature.
about Vogt before he moved. Like, just bad.
Yeah.
And you don't realize that we
Just
have
bad.
you don't realize the pockets of transplants that we have until their sports teams start to do well. And then they come right out of the woodwork.
Yeah. Just spelling out Eagles.
Dude,
I can't stand
you're
it.
like, man, there's no Browns fans here. And then like the Browns are good. You're like, we're overrun with Browns fans.
Whatever. That's a story for another day. Nuggets in Orlando to play the Magic in this one. Second game of a two-game road trip. And Brendan Vogt, let's go to game notes. Who's in tonight?
Yeah, well, that's the pertinent question for sure, because the Orlando Magic have quite the injury report. We'll start with the Nuggets side, which you guys are more interested, you guys and gals. Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic. Let the noise die down. They're in. Jokic and Gordon are in tonight.
That's what everyone's cheering for. Yeah.
That's what everyone's cheering for. Again, it's a right elbow sprain for Jokic.
Any word on if the sleeve is still
I was just going to ask.
on?
Obviously, we're not on the ground. I haven't seen any pics yet. We'll find out together
see
here.
what I
Still
can
the right
find.
elbow sprain.
I'm going to say 100% that the elbow
And then
elbow
Aaron
sleeve.
Gordon was probable as well with that right calf injury management. But they are both good to go against a Magic team that is a good team that's tried its best to have a good year. But goodness gracious, the injury bug is just devastating that locker room. Gogo Batazde, he's out.
Worst hair in the league.
Gary Harris, he's out. Jet Howard, he's out. Jalen Suggs, he's out. The Wagner brothers, they're out.
Damn.
So,
both bros?
Both bros. And I'll get specific here. It's concussion for Goga. Gary Harris, left hamstring strain.
Oh, man.
Gary Harris just...
I mean,
can't
you
stay off
said
the
you
injury
said
report.
Gary Harris. I love the guy, but like I would have just said strain or adductor.
Could have
One of
guessed.
the two.
Could have guessed.
Yeah.
Jalen
Sucks.
Suggs out with a low back strain. Franz Wagner returned to competition reconditioning, and of course the
that one.
torn ACL for Mo Wagner. So it's a beleaguered Magic roster that otherwise does its best to really play some great defense. And Michael Malone spoke about that today before the game. He said, well, obviously they're not healthy right now, but they've got a lot of guys out. But when they're fully healthy, they have tremendous size, length, versatility. They turn teams over at a high rate, a lot of steals per game. And they have a bunch of players I would just consider really plus defenders. Obviously, the Nuggets know what KCP is capable of doing, Malone said. Some of the guys that are out, Jalen Suggs is elite defensively. Some of their big guys, so obviously Jamal, the head coach there, does an outstanding job with their team. They're the number 3 defense in the NBA, and that's one of the concerns tonight after a game in Miami where we only had 6 turnovers. Can we do the same thing tonight? Not turn the ball over, and don't give a team that has struggled to score this year, don't give them those easy points off of their mistakes.
Is Jalen Suggs playing?
He's out. Jalen Suggs is out in this game.
Damn. So, yeah, a lot of good defenders out for Orlando. What are you watching for tonight, D-Line? Obviously, Jamal Murray's had a nice run of play recently. That Dallas game wasn't that long ago, 45 points. What do you got your eye on?
I think it's safe to say that from this point forward, it's no longer about the opponent. It is about the Denver Nuggets. We now have our eye on how the dynamic of the team is coming together. We finally have our full complement of players. We're going to find out and see different combinations. We are in the full experimental phase of like, what is the bench? What can we expect the bench to be? You know, like, can we see how certain bench players can be activated by playing alongside guys from the starting lineup, vice versa? What's like a realistic way moving forward to get the best out of this squad and start building as much confidence and as much synergy until the playoffs? Still a long way away, but like the Nuggets are now in a place where they can work on themselves, you know, like they're not in a relationship anymore. They're working on themselves. They're trying to get hot.
Right. The relationship might come later in the season.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. I was once in a relationship. Just kidding. I've never been in one.
You are doing the best.
You're
tonight,
engaged, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
What do you have your eye on tonight, Vogt?
I think Malone hit the nail on the head to sort of synthesize it with D-Line's point. It's more about, I think, how the Nuggets are playing right now, but you can still sort of tailor that perspective to the opponent. So in this case, the Nuggets do turn it over sometimes and just don't do that against this team. Easier said than done. But so then it becomes about the controllable ones. They're going to find ways to turn you over. Don't give them the easy ones. For me, if Denver rebounds well and they don't turn the ball over, I think, 7 to 8 out of 10 times at this point, like, they're winning that game, man.
I think that's safe to say. Yeah. What I'm watching for tonight is the bench. And I mean, I think the reason why the Nuggets in part have looked so good as of late is the bench is playing well, and Aaron Gordon's coming off the bench in that backup role. Look, if the second unit, and we're really talking about the non-Jokic minutes, if those minutes can be in a positive, the Nuggets are just going to win that game right now. I feel like that's where they're at as a team. That's where the starters are at. So, and that's been the case, in a couple of these games that Aaron Gordon has come off the bench for. I think maybe even the one where he sat out, they were a positive in the non-Jokic minutes. If that happens, Nuggets are going to get a dub that night. So I love where the rotation's kind of at with AG off the bench. And Michael Malone, even the other night, staggers 3 starters, for a lot of the second unit minutes. Jamal Murray, Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon. And it's like, oh, wait, we can do that?
Yeah.
You're allowed to do that in an NBA rotation? Yeah, a lot of teams do. So a bunch of reasons why the bench has looked pretty good as of late. The biggest is, I think, Aaron Gordon. And again, if they win those minutes, like, they're set up really well to win that game.
And in the meantime, they're set up really well to win those minutes with Gordon coming off the bench. The question, to your point, when they're healthy, how do they get back to that? Can you do that without jeopardizing the rest of the way you want your rotation to look? And of course, we know in the postseason, you do that by just shrinking the rotation. So, but I will say, like, they're chipping away. If the solution is on, like, the other side of this big mountain, like, they're making some progress here. They really are. So the non-Jokic minutes look better. A big part of it's Aaron Gordon, but also a big part of it is the kids looking better. Yeah. And if they win these minutes tonight, right now, I think if, like, Denver comes out and they win that first quarter, if the bench is even decent in that next stint, I think they're winning that game every time.
Yeah. Wait, is Wendell Carter playing?
He is. I actually have
the Jokic stopper.
The Jokic stopper. That's right.
Stopper.
It just reminded me. I think, yes, I have the Magic starters here. Cole Anthony, old friend Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
Okay.
Tristan da Silva. Is that CU buff Tristan
it is.
da Silva?
He's starting, yeah.
I really like him as a player. I don't know how he's been.
He's great. He's a great
player.
But
Paolo Banchero and Wendell Carter Jr. Are your starters for Orlando today.
And I assume typical starters for Denver with Aaron Gordon coming off the bench.
Yes, that is the case. Yep.
Let's move on, because I was looking at the Nuggets schedule just earlier today. I don't know if you guys have taken a gander at, the next 10, 15 games or so.
A gander.
I know the Nuggets have been hot as of late. They've won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of their last 13. That's pretty hot.
That's pretty hot.
Pretty hot.
I feel like this could continue, because if you look at this schedule, Orlando tonight, they come home to play Philly. Their season's over.
That's a dub, yep.
They come home to play Sacramento, who's actually been very good since they fired Mike Brown.
That's right.
But they'll fall off eventually. At Minnesota, who's been so up and down this season. Chicago, they're bad. The Knicks, that's
That's a tough one.
Is that in New
Tough
York?
game
Yes.
in New York.
Calling that Nell, just to be fair.
In the Garden.
And then you go Charlotte, New Orleans, New Orleans. You got Orlando again. You got 2 games with Portland in early February. You got Charlotte. There are a lot of winnable games on this schedule coming up. And again, everybody getting healthy right now.
Yeah.
I said this on our last show. It just kind of feels like things are coming together. And the Nuggets, Jamal being healthy, AG getting back, them kind of figuring out the rotation a little bit, that lining up with how manageable the schedule looks, even though there's a lot of games, like there's not a ton of rest, but the opponents are easier. It seems like it's all kind of lining up for this run that the Nuggets are on right now to kind of continue.
Definitely. And not only just the opponents, like you mentioned, but this is kind of what happens. This is what happens. This is what the Denver Nuggets are. They are not a fast starting team, and it really comes down to one player and one player only for that reason. But that player has gone through his winter hibernation and is now emerging from his little cave.
Yeah.
And we don't have to talk about it, but like this is kind of the script for the Denver Nuggets. Like this is like annoying as it may be, just for your own mental sanity, just know that this is how it goes.
The title year, they did a lot of eating in January and February, and actually to that point,
They did so much that they took off the last month.
Look at Vogt. Kind of looks like he's been doing that
a lot
too.
of eating, a little bit
January
myself.
eating
yeah.
over here.
As we all do. As we all do. I'm on dry January, by the way, chat. I've gained weight. It's terrible.
PSA, Vogt is on dry
Yeah, dude.
January.
And it's not working.
Tell
You know-
your friends, tell your wife.
Yeah, which just means what? You're eating a lot of wet candy,
Eating
or
a
what
lot
are you
of
doing?
bread instead.
A lot of wet
What
bread.
point was I making?
Carbo
Because I
load.
felt like it was a decent point. Oh, they did a lot of their eating in January and February. And to that point, we were not sure what kind of team we were looking at. And
Yeah.
so they have a chance to do the same thing this year. However, they were very responsible that season. They won a lot of games at home.
Yeah.
They crushed teams that were under 500 in the last 2 years. This year so far, both of those categories, they've been spotty. So
Yeah.
it's nice to have this schedule.
You're right.
You got to take advantage of it. Dot your I's, cross your T's. Don't let teams like this, good team but injured team, don't let them catch you by surprise, because this is your opportunity to make a push for the 2 to 3 seed without playing everyone X amount of more minutes.
Yes.
You just make the push because the schedule allows for it.
Yes.
One thing that I'm still waiting to see, and we're all still waiting to see from this team, is the consistency on defense.
Yep.
Yes.
Tonight is a game where the Wagner bros are out. They got a lot of injuries, you know. They got like guys like De Silva, decent player, but he's not going to, kill you individually on offense. This is a game where you love to see the Nuggets just lock down defensively.
Yes.
And just hold the Magic to under 90 points or something. And just really and really just prove to everybody, okay, we can actually do that for 4 quarters. We've seen it in some fourth quarters. We've seen it in clutch time. This would be a great game to just sell out defensively and just lock these guys up.
You're right, and the clearest indication as to whether the Denver Nuggets are indeed locked in or just riding the tails of Nikola Jokic is whether or not they play good team defense.
Yeah.
Nikola Jokic is good enough that even with lapses in defense and effort and appearances, that you can still power you to the 3 seed, the 4 seed, no problem. But if the rest of the Nuggets are engaged and are playing defense and are communicating and putting in the effort, which is really what it comes down to always with this team, and defense in general in the NBA is so effort-based, and there's a very fine line between getting blown by and staying in front of a guy, and you got to give it your all. And normally they don't. But if they are starting to give it their all, we can lock in for some enjoyable basketball moving forward.
Yeah. Let's move on here because the Nuggets are playing KCP tonight, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who left Denver for Orlando last offseason. I feel like right now might be a good time to look back and say, was that the right call? Or can we say if that was the right call? I'll start with you, Vogt, on this one. How do you view that decision? Obviously we don't know what this season holds, but right now, the decision because it seems like the Nuggets, they might have wanted him back, but they kind of didn't make as earnest of an effort as they probably could have to bring him back. What do you think of that decision right now, just moving on from KCP and going in the direction that they do?
2 parts of this, and there is a but, so hear me out.
Whoa.
The first part is that they always believed Christian Braun could do this. That's a fact. The second apron was looming. That may have influenced ownerships. That may have been a nice, ownership may have said, yeah, you don't want KCP. That works for us, right? And they may have even encouraged it. Calvin Booth always believed in Christian Braun. I think that is true, independent of the financial situation. Having said that, the but is they feel one guy short, and wouldn't have been awesome if that guy was just KCP. You could have had both. You could have had both. You'd be going into the second apron. We've had that conversation at length about whether
you wouldn't be able to have Sharch.
About whether that's you wouldn't have Sharch. About whether or not that's worth it to you.
Yeah.
So to me, that's the thing not to forget is you could have had Baldwin. That would have been optimal. Having said that, the Christian Braun part of this equation, I feel they got that right. They drafted a guy they thought could move into the starting lineup. They always felt that way, and I think they got it right.
What do you think?
My feeling on this, are we talking about from the Denver perspective or for KCP's perspective?
I think from the Nuggets perspective, was it the right choice?
Okay, so from the Nuggets perspective, they what they've done over the last several years is they let KCP and Bruce Brown both walk, both for obvious monetary reasons.
Well, they had no choice with Bruce.
Yeah, they could never re-sign Bruce.
Yes. Yeah. But all I'm saying is, it should be noted, and it has not really been brought up, that then they still did get veteran presence and veteran play from Russell Westbrook, who has been a revelation and has given you as much, or I would argue much, much more than KCP gave you, obviously in a different role, but just as far as filling in this roster with veteran players that can bring the juice. They actually hit an absolute grand slam home run with getting Russell Westbrook, and not only doing it in a way that is beneficial to the team, but also beneficial to the bottom line, which unfortunately is a dynamic that you can't ignore. Even if this is millionaires playing with millionaires and money needs to be spent, it's you still have to be strategic, and you have to think about the team at present and the team moving forward. There's a really good chance that had they signed KCP, they would have been locked into a deal that would look really bad in a few years. I don't believe his longevity is going to be I don't think he's going to be dope in the next 3 to 4 years, So I think at the end of the day, I do like that they actually had a plan. They weren't just being panicked. They set forth. They were like, all right, we're not going to just pay out the nose for all these players. We're going to line up something that I think is going to work not only for this season, but moving forward. And I think it's going to pay dividends. I really do. I like how Christian Braun is playing. I like how Peyton Watson is playing. I like that Julian Strawther is starting to make an appearance. Russell Westbrook is a fantastic addition, and he plays that Bruce Brown role to a much higher degree. And he also can give you what KCP would on the defensive side. So as the dust is starting to settle, it looks like the right move to me.
Yeah, this is a cop-out, but it's too early to tell. We probably won't know until this season is over, and it's obviously based on what happens in the playoffs. Of
course.
How Christian Braun plays in the playoffs, how Russell Westbrook plays in the playoffs, all of those things coming together. But I do think you were right in saying that, the Nuggets did have a plan here. They weighed everything. They definitely thought about it. They game planned out multiple scenarios and decided this was the best route to go. And it's still got a great chance of working out. I mean, they got killed for it when it happened, and I can't fault anybody that was upset about it. You can definitely make the case they should have just run it back and kept the band together, gone to the second apron, limited their flexibility, going forward. But they chose to not do that, and they did have a plan. And I think Christian Braun has filled in very well for KCP.
I do too.
And even if you look at the playoffs last year, you can probably make the argument that, Christian Braun might have been better suited to guard Anthony Edwards in that playoff series than KCP.
This is the part that you have to remember about KCP is he was on the team last year when they got beat by the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I think it'd be awesome to just have both. The question is, long-term, would that have screwed you? And to Wynn's point, we can feel a certain way. We can't know that now. But I do think it's important to underscore that at least they got the Christian Braun part right. If they didn't, then we're looking at a disaster. But they did. And, Booth has not gotten all of this right. That is one, when he told us day one, Christian can't fail. He always believed in this guy. And so, to that extent, they were right. The bigger picture of was second apron worth it or not, Time will tell.
We actually need a new ometer. We need a.
Oh, really? Okay.
We need is Calvin Booth a genius or an idiot?
Yeah.
And like some days he's an idiot, and then other days he's a genius. And right now he's a
Certainly,
genius.
it can't be something in between.
No, it's
No,
never been in
certainly
between.
it
No, that's
can,
the point. Like this is how it works. Is like
That's
either
how ometers work.
That's right. Yeah.
ometers are
Yeah.
on or they're off, bro. What don't you get about this? Currently,
It's my bad.
Calvin Booth, genius. It's all working to
He's
plan.
been looking like a genius lately. The plan seems to be working right now.
Until KCP locks Jamal up tonight.
Idiot.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
But one other thing, Vogt, that you brought up, it would have been nice to have them both. The thing is, you can't usually play them both
That is true.
at the same time.
That is true.
So I think that was part of the calculus as well. Okay, like, what's Michael Malone going to do in a playoff series? Is he going to play KCP or Christian Brown in that 2 spot? It's probably going to be KCP,
Dude,
and look what happened last year.
I
something
swear
to that.
what's going to. I mean, I just know what's going to happen. By the time we get to the playoffs, Russell Westbrook will be in the starting unit. Christian Brown will come off the bench, he will still contribute greatly. He will be the 6th man, but the starting unit will be unbelievably dominant. And we won't have this conversation, should we have let KCP go in favor of Christian Brown, because it will be like, we let KCP go in favor of Russell Westbrook, who's actually outperforming him by quite a bit.
Have you looked at KCP's stats this season, and either of you?
I'm sure they're
It's
deeply unimpressive.
At the beginning, it was deeply unimpressive. I think he's been better of late.
He's shooting 32%
That's
from
what I'm
3
saying, man.
and
Like,
41.5% from the floor.
KCP is an expiring asset, period. Like,
Right. I mean, I don't think it's all one thing or the other.
It is. It's an ometer.
KCP's screen navigation would be wonderful. We've
Absolutely.
seen games where they don't have that, right?
You're right, of course.
And
He's probably not getting the same quality of looks in Orlando either.
And he's still spaced well from the corner. I mean, I'm in on what Christian Brown is doing. I just, I don't want to automatically sell the utility that KCP brought when it was pretty recent that he brought it to the table.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here and get out our Bet365 apps. Let's do some betting. No Dev on the show today. I'm curious.
Oh God.
The
Temper
direction we go
expectation.
here.
Do not bet
with our bet segment.
Do not bet the mortgage like you normally do.
Don't worry, we still have Dev's bets.
Oh, we have to bet.
Oh, we
Okay,
do.
bet the mortgage.
Okay.
Bet the mortgage.
Our pregame picks
Oh,
are presented by
sweet Jesus.
Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code DNVR365. Deposit $10. Place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. So we're just going to put the bets up and talk about them?
let's put them up, and I'll just. Okay, well, you know what? Let's first and foremost, let's look at this game through the lens.
So let's go to the other side of things really quick.
Well, let's look at this through the lens of the betting markets, which is the most trustworthy market because of money. The Denver Nuggets are favored by 7.5 points.
Okay.
On the road in Orlando, in the unfriendly confines of the happiest place on earth, Orlando.
Did they stay at the
at the Grand? What was it?
I used to stay all the time at the resorts.
the Grand Floridian,
Grand Floridian-
the yacht club? That was bottom tier.
Yeah, but what was the top one? It was the
There's also
Grand Destino.
There's
Oh,
also
yeah,
the Tiki
Grand
Bar
Destino.
one, which I
Yeah,
love.
don't talk to me if you're not in the Grand Destino.
Dude, if your team is in the yacht
Can we
club,
actually talk about how insane it was they collectively rated the quality of teams by where you were staying in Orlando?
Yeah.
Go to the
That
yacht
was
club.
crazy.
Go to the yacht club.
yeah, take
Portland.
Yeah, take that energy back.
Meanwhile,
to the
they
yacht
gave
club.
LeBron Walt Disney's office. They're like, make yourself at home, dude. Do you
I
guys
know,
want
right?
to practice today? You guys want to?
So the Nuggets are favored by 7.5 on the road, which I would
That's a
probably take.
lot. That's a lot.
Yeah,
on the
they are
road.
also minus 305 in this game on the money line. So Vegas or wherever Bet365 is located is expecting an easy day for the Denver Nuggets. Let's hope they oblige. The over-under is 221.5. So that's not that
big.
That's not that big. Orlando does have a good defense, as you've noted,
do.
and they probably won't score that much on their own.
I kind of like the over there.
I kind of like the over too, but I don't really dig playing this game through points because it's just so difficult to try and nail it down. All right, Kale, let's get to the good stuff. What did Dev?
Let's
how
go to
did Dev
Dev's
see this game
bets.
going? The player prop. Oh, look at this vote. MPG J over 2.5 threes. He loves it.
I
He
love
loves
on that.
Money.
Hey, plus
Plus
115.
You
Mike
wanna
is
know
letting
why?
it fly, man.
You want to know why? Because Michael Photosynthesis Jr. is in Orlando soaking up the rays.
It's a great point, dude.
He's
Got a little
soaking them
tan?
up.
Photosynthesizer Junior.
Yeah, there's baddies in the building. We know this.
Yeah, Orlando, of course, landlocked, but maybe he got out to a pool.
Baddies in the building.
And he likes for the player prop, Jokic over 8.5 assists at -140. He's going up against Wendell Carter Jr.,
the stopper,
famous Jokic stopper. So it's, Jokic obviously been on a roll. I mean, I would not shy away from a triple-double if you have that kind of sense today. He should, by all rights, score and assist because he's Jokic. And the lock, Jamal Murray, over 19.5 points. Dev is buying the back storyline. Dev believes Jamal to be back. Jamal believes Jamal to be back. I believe Jamal to be back. And let's make some money off of it.
Well, you know what else you have, man, is no Gary Harris and no Jalen Suggs. So
yes.
KCP to navigate screens, but not the same small army of dogs on defense they usually bring to the table.
Dogless by some measures. I'll tell you what, I personally have put together a parlay that I'm playing today.
Okay.
And you can decide to ride with me or not. Harrison and I collectively took the worst beat in the history of the world last time.
I haven't recovered, man.
I haven't recovered either. And we're still talking about it. I feel good about this one, though. This is an all-time D-line recovery bet.
Okay.
Everyone could tell me on this. We'll all celebrate together. I believe, I have Russell Westbrook recording 5+ assists.
I like that.
I believe there'll be a lot of distribution today, and the ball will be popping. I think assists are going to come pretty easily today. So that's something to take advantage of. Then I like Julian Strawther to hit 1 3.
Okay.
Julian Strawther has been letting it fly.
Did you see, by the way, I forget who it was. Vic might have done the interview with him, or it might have been Katie, where he said the thumbs down is not a gladiator thing at all.
I was on that. I always saw it as like it went down. It went down.
I don't know if that's it either.
I honestly don't even know if they banked it that full. I think they just were like, screw it.
It went down it went down the hole. Like it went down.
I always thought it was, they can't guard me, man. This guy can't guard me.
Turns out there's no explanation. They were just like, we thought
no one's done this yet.
They were like, we thought it was so tough.
You know what? Right. Good reason. Why not? Just put it into the world. Yeah. I'm into it.
I saw it on TikTok.
So that's the first two legs. Russell Westbrook, 5 assists. Julian Strawther, 1 3. I like Jamal Murray to make 2+ threes.
Okay.
2+ threes. Very reasonable numbers, right? And I like Nikola Jokic to record over 11.5 rebounds. This to me feels like an absolute lock. He's not, sure, Wendell Carter Jr. is in there, but there's no Mo Wagner. There's no Franz Wagner. There's not a lot of tall bodies fighting for rebounds. He should, by all rights, get 20+ rebounds today. And all of that together will net you, that is plus 400. And when you have over 3 legs on a parlay, it allows you to boost it by 30%. So this can be a tidy little payday if all of these very reasonable requests that we have of the Denver Nuggets come to pass.
Here's a bet I've got, if I could channel my inner Dev.
Please.
Wendell Carter.
Oh, God. Already on the other side of things?
10+ points.
That's it?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a great bet.
-200.
It's honestly a great bet.
That's a lock, though.
It's -200, yeah.
Dev
parlay that was something.
I'm throwing that in the parlay.
Dev secretly bets the points of every opposing center against Nikola Jokic every time, and it hits every time.
Tell.
All right, is it the fourth quarter of the Eagles game? We get to go change the channel on these dudes. It's going to be an unbelievable
Do we have
experience.
any super chats?
I mean, there's only 2 minutes left.
Oh, okay. Oh,
all right, let's hit a couple super chats.
Change all the TVs. Cedric Exquisite. No Vogt, no Eric, no, we don't, no, I can't see this one actually.
You gotta,
can you make this one a little bigger, buddy?
Hanging us out to dry again.
No Vogt, no we don't, Eric, no Kale Sorbo, no Harrison Wind. We want the trifecta of Maul, Russ, and Yoke. It's not impossible. It is impossible. Nuggets -1, Nuggets 120, Magic 105. All the Nuggets are good.
I don't understand the tone of that super chat.
I don't either, but it's out of the way. Druid Trading gets the last word. Great show, guys. I like this 3-man DNVR lineup.
Yeah, dude.
New big 3 just dropped.
New best lineup just dropped.
All right. We're going to go watch Nuggets and Magic. Can't wait for this one. Thanks for hanging out
the NFL playoffs.
in the Toyota chat. Thanks for hanging out and watching the show. We'll be back in a couple hours. Talk to you then.
Peace.
You like this wave?
We all silly like the mayor.